Hi students, welcome to SP Chemistry. In today's session, we will study Class 12 Chemistry, Chapter The Solid State, Concept Classification of Crystalline Solids, Sub-Concept Molecular Solids, Ionic Solids, Metallic Solids, Covalent or Network Solids, and Link Concept Polar and Non-Polar Bond, Hydrogen Bond, Metallic Bond, electrostatic force and ionic bond. So at the end of this session, the learners will be able to classify crystalline solids into different types and explain about types of crystalline solids. Contents are classification of crystalline solids, molecular solids, ionic solids, metallic solids, covalent solids or network solids. So let us discuss classification of crystalline solids. Crystalline solids are classified on the basis of nature of intermolecular forces or bonds that hold the constituent particles together, and different types of intermolecular forces may be van der Waals forces, ionic bonds, covalent bonds and metallic bonds. On the basis of these intermolecular forces, crystalline solids are classified into four categories: molecular, ionic, metallic and covalent solids. Here we can represent schematically types of crystalline solids. Four types of crystalline solids are mentioned here. You can see different types: metallic solids, ionic solids, covalent or network solids and molecular solids. Now we will discuss different types of molecular solids one by one. In molecular solids, molecules are the constituent particles, and these are further subdivided into three categories: non-polar molecular solids. These non-polar molecular solids comprise either atoms, for example argon and helium, or the molecules formed by non-polar covalent bonds, for example H2, Cl2 and I2. These are examples of non-polar molecular solids, and these are formed by non-polar covalent bonds. As we know that covalent bond is formed due to sharing of electrons. And why non-polar? Because these molecules in H2, Cl2 or I2 molecule is formed between two same atoms, and dipole moment is zero due to zero difference in their electronegativity value. In these solids, the atoms or molecules are held by weak dispersion forces or London forces. These solids are soft and non-conductors of electricity. They have low melting points and are usually in liquid or gaseous state at room temperature and pressure. So here non-polar molecular solids, we can take example carbon dioxide and iodine. In carbon dioxide, net also dipole moment is zero, and non-polar molecular solid iodine also. Iodine molecule is formed by two iodine atoms, and each iodine atom is having same electronegativity value, so that difference in negativity value, electronegativity value is zero and net dipole moment is zero. And these two are, and so many other examples also you can take as non-polar molecular solids. Then molecular solids may be polar molecular solids. For example HCl, SO2, these are formed by polar covalent bonds. Now why polar? Because due to electronegativity difference in two atoms. If we consider HCl, the hydrogen and chlorine, covalent bond is formed between hydrogen and chlorine, and due to electronegativity difference, the molecule is polar. So polar molecular solids are held together by relatively stronger dipole-dipole interactions. These solids are soft and non-conductors of electricity. Their melting points are higher than those of non-polar molecular solids. Yet, most of these are gases or liquids under room temperature and pressure. So, we can take some examples like solid SO2, solid ammonia as polar molecular solids. So, here HCl, ammonia, these are polar molecular solids. Then molecular solids may be hydrogen bonded molecular solids. That means in these molecular solids hydrogen bond is present. The molecules of such solids contain polar covalent bonds between hydrogen and fluorine, oxygen or nitrogen atoms. Strong hydrogen bonding binds the molecules of such solids like water. Water is a very common example of hydrogen bonded molecular solids, that is ice. In solid state, water is known as ice. They are non-conductors of electricity. Generally, they are volatile liquids or soft solids under room temperature and pressure. So here hydrogen bonded molecular solids, we can see here hydrogen bond is present between H and O. Due to electronegativity difference, here hydrogen bond is present. So this is a very good example of hydrogen bonded molecular solids. Then let us come to ionic solids. Ionic solids means what? Ions are the constituent particles of these types of solids. Such solids are formed by three-dimensional arrangement of ions. Ions, positively charged ions known as cations and negatively charged ions known as anions. These are bound by strong electrostatic forces or Coulombic forces. These ionic solids are hard and brittle in nature. They have high melting point and boiling points. Since ions are not free to move about, they are electrical insulators in solid state. As we know, to be a conductor, we need either ions in free state or free electrons. Since the ions are not free to move, they are electrically insulator. So, however, in the molten state, when dissolved in water, the ions become free to move about and they conduct electricity. That means in molten state, ionic solids are conductor of electricity. Ionic solids, we can take example of sodium chloride. In sodium chloride, ions Na plus and Cl minus ions bind together to form ionic solids. Now let us come to metallic solids. Metallic solids, metals are constituent particles in this solid, and metals are orderly collection of positive ions surrounded by and held together by a sea of free electrons. That means in metallic solids free electrons are present. That is why these solids are good conductor of electricity. These electrons are mobile and are evenly spread out throughout the crystal. Each metal atom contributes one or more electron towards this sea of mobile electrons. These free and mobile electrons are responsible for high electrical and thermal conductivity of metals. When an electric field is applied, these electrons flow through the network of positive ions. Similarly, when heat is supplied to one portion of a metal, the thermal energy is uniformly spread throughout by free electrons. Another important characteristic of metals is their luster and color in certain cases. This is also due to what? The presence of free electrons in them. And metals are highly malleable, ductile, as we know from earlier classes. Then here is an example of metallic solid. Now let us come to covalent or network solids. A wide variety of crystalline solids of non-metals result from the formation of covalent bonds between adjacent atoms throughout the crystal. So these are also called giant molecules. Giant means what? Big molecules. Covalent bonds are strong and directional in nature. Therefore, atoms are held very strongly at their positions. Such solids are very hard and brittle. They have extremely high melting point, may even decompose before melting. They are insulators and do not conduct electricity. For example, graphite. And graphite, it is soft and is a good conductor of electricity. But diamond and silicon carbide are typical examples of such solids. So here diamond is a crystalline lattice, and in diamond each carbon atom is sp3 hybridized and linked to 4. Here each carbon atom is sp3 hybridized and linked to 4 other carbon atoms using hybridized orbitals in tetrahedral fashion. As we know that in sp3 hybridization it is tetrahedral, and in diamond carbon-carbon bond length is 154 picometer. That means 154 into 10 to the power minus 12 meter. And another example, graphite. Graphite, it has a layered structure. Layered structure, here you can see graphite, different layers are present. So these layers are held by van der Waals forces. In graphite, different layers are held by van der Waals forces, and the distance between two layers is 340 picometer, and each layer is composed of a planar hexagonal rings of carbon atoms. Then carbon-carbon bond length within this layer is 141.5 picometer, and each carbon in graphite in hexagonal ring undergoes sp2 hybridization and makes 3 sigma bonds with neighboring carbon atoms, and 4th electron forms a pi bond. This makes graphite slippery, and we know graphite is very soft, slippery, which makes electrons move and conduct electricity. So graphite is a good conductor of electricity. And different types of solids we can summarize here whatever we discussed. Then at the end of this session we will discuss some evaluative questions. First question for you: classify the following solids in different categories based on the nature of intermolecular forces operating in them. Potassium sulfate, tin, benzene, urea, ammonia, water, zinc sulfide, graphite, rubidium, argon, silicon carbide. So now we will discuss one by one. Potassium sulfate, as we know that potassium sulfate is an ionic solid. Then tin is metallic solid. Then benzene, urea, ammonia, all these are molecular solids. Water, as we discussed, water, hydrogen bonded molecular solid. Then zinc sulfide is ionic solid. Then graphite is covalent solid. Rubidium is a metallic solid. Then argon is molecular solid. Then silicon carbide is an example of covalent solids. Then question number 2, solid A is very hard electrical insulator in solid as well as in molten state and melts at extremely high temperature. So what type of solid is it? That means what is given? So very hard, solid A is very hard electrical insulator and as in solid as well as in molten state. So it is an example of covalent or network solid. Then question number 3, ionic solids conduct electricity in molten state but not in solid state. Explain. What happens in ionic solids? The electrical conductivity is due to what? The movement of ions. And since the ionic mobility is negligible in the solid state, these are non-conducting in solid state, but upon melting the ions become free so that ions are mobile, therefore the ionic solids become conducting in molten state. Then last question for you, what type of solids are electrical conductors, malleable and ductile? Already we have discussed answer to this question. Answer is what? What type of solid? Answer is metallic solids. So dear students, these were the evaluative questions for you, and next class we will discuss different types of crystal lattices and unit cells. Thank you all.